to Face, the program
that frontally discusses
political and social issues in Nigeria. The weekly program brought to you on Wednesday by 6 p.m. Nigerian time, anchored by Prince Ewemade Concourse, powered by GCSDN.
Join us.
Yes, you're welcome to another edition of Face to Face program today. Today we are going to be discussing about the outburst of MazI Nnamdi Kanu. For a man to go off like that in the presence of the judge and the lawyers and all that, something must have prompted that man. He has been patient. To me, I believe he has been patient for a while with the federal government. And before we continue, let me just quickly play his outburst on Monday during the court section. Then you, the viewers that is also watching from your comfort zone, I also want you to contribute to this program because we are going to be diving around. I'm going to be talking about the key legal issues surrounding Kanu continuous detention, the court decision, and all that. We're going to talk about that. But before we continue, let's just quickly listen to MazI speaking on Monday. Then
I accused him, he was conscious of issue. I asked him to do himself. Why did the chief judge insist I must hear it? He left my case.
If anybody is not happy with the case, then you need to go and
No, I cannot. Because I have a court order. You have released yourself. I have a court order. Anybody who disagrees with this order of court, go to appeal court. That's what you tell me all the time. You are from this official. You cannot preside over this case number again. Not in this life. You cannot. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. A woman here cannot force this court to preside on my case. You cannot. Not today, not till forever. You are recused and you stand recused. Tell the chief judge, Nnamdi said, go on appeal. I recused him from my case. The state recused Justice Adema from my case. I did not insist Adema must hear my case. I never insisted. So why must you insist to hear my case? I don't want you in my case. I don't need you in my case. You are biased. You are biased. You cannot be in my case. A woman should do the right thing. A chairman of the board of managers constitution should resume propriety. Nowhere in the world such nonsense stop. You cannot be hobnobbing with lawyers, hobnobbing with justices, and you're proceeding a case. It's shameful. Absolutely shameful. Shameful. This is a record of law. This is a shrine to injustice. And I will not subject myself to it. You stand recused and you must take my case. You cannot write me. This man is not paying attention. There is an order of recusal, and he's a senior advocate for goodness sake. There's an order of recusal. Is that not the rule of law? The law says if you disagree with this, you go and appeal. You are a grown-up man. Because of 300 million, you're behaving like a child. Go and appeal. Because of money. Because of money they're paying you from ATM surface, you are here standing and smoking evil. Because of money. A grown-up man like you, you say you have to want to behave like a man of honor. The rule of law says you go and appeal. His lordship didn't tell you go and try my case. Not on this planet Earth, I'm telling you that now. So stop wasting your time.
The issue of the past that the defendant has indicated that he will not make a formal application. I advise that the Honorable Court is simply there for hearing.
You are not well. You are not well. I'm telling you, this God am I not well. This is an order of court. An order of court says Justice Beta Nyako is recused. An order of court. Order she made as an order. The same Chief Justice writing the stupid memo he's writing. I recused him. He was functus official. He sat on appeal. I took him to NJC. I recused him. Why did he not say I must sit on your case? Why in the case of his lordship? Is he insisting? He wants to embarrass her. He wants to embarrass your lordship by asking her to come and sit on this case. Is that what you're saying? That's an order. Give it to him. He doesn't have it. Give him an order of court. It's an order of court. Give it to him. He doesn't have it. An order. Give him. He doesn't have it. It's an order of court. It's an order of court.
If you are just joining us, you just heard MazI Nnamdi Kanu asking the presiding judge to kindly recuse himself from the case. And I'm sure because of the prior court decision for the judge not to be in charge of that case. And from what I can understand is the judge is trying to impose himself on the case because Kanu has also alleged during the utterance that he's been paid 300 million for him to continue to preside over the case. Now, I'm going to take everybody through the key legal concerns about Kanu case. The Supreme Court has made, the Appeal Court has made a ruling. The Supreme Court has also made a ruling that first of all, in order for you to be able to face persecution, the court must have a jurisdiction over that case. Okay, this is where the problem begins. For those of you who are not familiar with Kanu case, I've been following the case for quite some time. The legal issue is Kanu has no case to answer in Nigeria. And the reason is because of the way Kanu was extradited into the country. So the court in Nigeria has no jurisdiction to try Kanu's case. So we are not talking about if Kanu is guilty or not guilty of the charges now. We are talking about the legal jurisdiction over the case of Nnamdi Kanu. First of all, the Nigerian state violated the international law and due process. That's the first thing, by extraditing Kanu to Nigeria for a trial. If they are not extradited, I beg your pardon, that's the wrong word. They forcefully brought him to Nigeria for a trial. If he was extradited according to the treaty between Nigeria and Kenya, Kanu would have been able to face the charges that is being filed against him today. They violated the international law and the due process. The extraordinary redemption, Kanu was allegedly kidnapped, tortured, and forcefully brought to Nigeria without a formal extradition process, which is a violation of the international law and due process. Nigerian government has already, under President Buhari, has already erred and made an error. So whatever case or whatever charges they file against Nnamdi Kanu today does not stand. It has no legal ground, it has no legal basics in law. The case cannot stand because you cannot build on top of nothing. In order for you to build on top of something, there must be a foundation. So the government of Nigeria has no legal foundation to charge Nnamdi Kanu or to try him in Nigeria. If they want to try him in the proper way, return him back to Kenya and go through the normal process and extradite Kanu back to Nigeria. Simple, Kabadaya, finish. They violated the international law and due process through which, by the means which Kanu was brought into the country. It was not legal and it was not proper. It was not the normal process. They violated the Kenyan law. The Kenya authority denied involvement, raising concern that he was allegedly handed over without a court hearing. They violated the Kenyan law because that was where he was kidnapped and brought into Nigeria. Because I don't want to be arguing about the case in Nigeria because there's no case for Kanu. This is the bitter truth. Kanu has no case to answer in Nigeria. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, but I'm telling you the legal basis for which Kanu cannot be tried in Nigeria. They violated the Kenyan law because the Kenyan authority denied involvement. they breach the Extradition Act under international law. Extradition requires a legal request, fair trial, and defense right, none of which was followed. So they violated the international law and the due process. The Kenyan law was violated. They breached the Extradition Act, which Nigeria is signatory to. Kanu case is many of you will argue Kanu did this, Kanu did that. We are not talking about what Kanu did now. We are talking about the process for which the government is trying to try Kanu in Nigeria. It's illegal completely. So these are some of the reasons why you see this young man, shouting, screaming on his voice in the court, because they have no legal jurisdiction to try him in Nigeria. Now, Nigerian court ruling declaring the extradition illegal. In Nigerian court, ruling declared the extradition of Kanu illegal. In October 2002, the Court of Appeal in Abuja ruled that Kanu extradition was unlawful and dismissed the terrorism charges against Kanu. The court held that since he was illegally brought to Nigeria, the government had no jurisdiction to try him. The government have no jurisdiction to try Kanu. These are legal facts. Despite the ruling, the Nigerian government refused to release him, further violating legal and human rights principles. When some persons refer to the judicial system in Nigeria as kangaroo or the Zoo Republic, some of the things they do is align with those statements. I'll be very honest. The United Nations Rights Committee ruling in July 2022, the United Nations Human Rights Committee ruled that Nigeria violated Kanu human rights, demanded his immediate release and compensation. The United Nations Human Rights Committee had a ruling on this same case. The UN condemned the extradition rendition, calling it a breach of international treaty on human rights and fair trial right. So Kanu should never be tried in Nigeria. The best thing the federal government of Nigeria can do to save themselves from the shame that they brought upon the judiciary in Nigeria is to release Kanu, apologize to him, or take Kanu back to Kenya, hand over him to the Kenyan authority, file the legal process of extraditing someone from a country that has that is signatory to the same treaty as Nigeria. So now, because we don't need to talk about the case, because talking about the case, we are giving kind of more light, or bringing more life into the Nigerian case that the government has filed against Kanu. And also, we have to also consider some of other things. When it comes to the security of the southeast, the stability of the southeastern region of Nigeria, the unrest, the sit at home, the economic disruption, the increase in security, they all link to the continuous detention of Kanu. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been in office now. It's not the one that started the case, but it would have been fair and proper to say that when he first came into the office last year, he would have asked for the immediate release of Kanu. He should have done that. He should have asked for the immediate release and drop all charges against Kanu, because he has no case to answer in Nigeria, no matter how you look at it. I don't believe in the Biafran struggle, because I believe in one Nigeria. I believe that we are better off as one Nigeria. It's only in the absence of peace that there's absence of peace, that people want to go to war. But there's still more room. There's still room for dialogue between the people of the Southeastern region, Nigeria, and the Nigerian state, which I believe this current administration should embrace peace and try to have a dialogue, have a table with Kanu, sit with him, let him air his grievances, and see how the government can, work with this young man. He's a very talented young man. He shouldn't be, wasting away in the prison. And he has been there for quite some time now. Then the government they also have to look at a political solution, because it's in the best interest of the entire South region, the Southeastern region, and the best interest of every Nigerians. Because if they can do this to Kanu, they can do it to anybody else. Kanu was forcefully brought into Nigeria because Kenya government denied. They have no knowledge about Kanu extradition to Nigeria. So, which the government has already violated the Treaty Act. So, all the charges they file against him, they have no legal basics because they cannot stand. You cannot file any charges on a paper that is floating on top of a stream. It's not going to work. So, for the sake of unity of the people of Nigeria and the people of the Southeastern region, I call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use his good office and release Nnamdi Kanu, drop all charges and release him as a goodwill gesture to the people of the Southeastern region. You do not need to wait till 2027 and use him as a bargain chip for the people of South as a bargain chip, for the Eastern to be able to capture the vote from Southeastern region. No. Because if you do that, a lot of people will see it as being too political. It will be in the best interest of your administration to release Kanu. Buhari made a grave mistake. Buhari was ruling like a dictator. Buhari was a dictator in office in Agbada. Buhari was a dictator in Agbada. That's what he was doing. Everybody saw what he did to the Ezazaki people, kidnapping. But the killers, people were killing Nigerians on a daily basis, kidnapping them on every highway. They were treating, giving them a slap or on their wrist. Oh, go, because they belong to your tribe, your religion, or whatever. So, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it will be in the best interest of your government, of your party, the ruling party, to please release MazI Kanu, drop all charges, because there's no, it cannot stand trial in Nigeria. It's incomplete. No, it's impossible. There's no law that will allow you to try Kanu in Nigeria because of the way it was brought into the country. You've already violated all the international law, the due process law and everything. You violated it. The government violated that already. Not your government, but your predecessor. So Kanu should be released. Look for a political solution in order for us to be able to have stability in the Southeastern region, so that this sit at home that the observing is in the Southeastern region of Nigeria should be brought to an end. Because we are all one Nigeria, irrespective of how we see ourselves or what we think, but we are all one Nigerian. We are all Nigeria. It was not by accident that we were all born in the same country. So for me, for those of you who are arguing that Kanu have committed atrocity, but you cannot charge him in Nigeria, whether you like it or not, whether you believe this or not. The legal fact is that Kanu cannot be tried by any court in Nigeria because of the way he was brought into the country. If they had followed the proper channel of extradition, file extradition, they go have a hearing in Kenya, the court in Kenya, granting the extradition back to the US, back to Nigeria, it would have been easy for them to file any charges and present their cases, and at the end, It can be found guilty or not found guilty. If there's enough evidence, yeah, it can be found guilty. If there's no evidence, then it's not guilty and they can let him go. But on this very basis that he was forcefully brought into the country, there's no way you can try him. There's no way. There's a case of the WikiLeaks guy that was released last year. It was here in the UK because the America was fighting for his extradition. At the end of the day, a deal was reached between the American and the British government. And at the end of the day, after the guy spent so many years in at the embassy, later in detention in the UK here, fighting extradition, he was let go. So the process is for you to extradite anyone, you must go through the court process in that country, which that person lives, and before you can bring them back. Another case in question, the Daisy, former Minister of Petroleum. She's here in the UK fighting her extradition. They never, till today, they've not been able to bring her back to Nigeria. Even I think at the time I heard she was requesting to come back to Nigeria to face the cases. So Kanu has no case to answer. Simple. He has no case to answer in Nigeria. So for him and all the judges that have been handling the cases, they collect money from the government and according to what Kanu just said, he said they paid him 300 million. Obviously, that's probably what other judges have been doing. They've been doing, collecting money to come at, make some kangaroo decision. So Kanu is too smart. He knows his legal right. He knows he cannot be tried in Nigeria because that's what international law says, because of the way he was brought into the country. So he already knew. That's why when you see him screaming on Monday in court that the judge wants to impose himself to come and set up a kangaroo trial for him, it's not possible. If I was in his shoe, I would do the same thing. When I know the law is on my side, I'm not going to give up. I'll fight it to the end. The law is the law. You cannot bend it. Again, I'm calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC-led administration to please, for the sake of peace and unity of Nigeria, for Nigeria to continue to coexist as one nation, I call on you to use your goodwill to release MazI Nnamdi Kanu and let him go. Even though the government refused to apologize to him, just let him go. There's no charges. Or take him back to Kenya, as the case may be. So I want to thank you for tuning in today to this program, and hope to see you again next week with another interesting topic. God bless you as you tune in. I remain your humble host, Prince Ewumade, signing out.